Jabari Smith Jr. is the man who is highly projected to be selected by the Orlando Magic with the first overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft, and in this video, I will be going over every little detail about him as a prospect and why he is incredibly special in the eyes of many NBA front offices. Jabari is coming out of his freshman year at the University of Auburn. He's a 6'10 forward weighing in at 220 pounds with a 7'1" wingspan, and he just turned 19 years of age as his birthday is May 13th, 2003. The first strength that I'm going to mention is Smith Jr.'s ability to shoot the three-point shot. He has the purest stroke of a jump shot coming out of this class, as his release looks almost picture perfect when analyzing it. His 7'1" wingspan and height also make it so difficult for defenders to contest and try to block his shots. He can shoot both off the dribble and off the catch, and for his size, being able to create shots for himself is a huge positive that not many stretch bigs have in their arsenal, and because of this, he can easily become one of, if not the best shooter in the NBA who is 6'10 or taller, as he can not only shoot the three at an extremely efficient clip, but he also doesn't need to rely on a playmaker on his team to feed him the ball in his spot, and he can do it almost all himself if he wanted to. He is a dream fit for teams that have forwards and or guards that love to drive to the lane, as he'll be able to stretch the floor with the best thumb in the NBA. His three-point percentage in college was 42% on 188 attempts, and nearly 75% of his shot attempts came from either the mid-range or from beyond the arc, while the remaining 25% came in the paint or right at the rim. His sweet spot from beyond the arc was on the wings, connecting on 48.7% of his 39 tries from the right wing and 45% of his 60 attempts from the left wing. But like I touched upon earlier, he isn't just a catch-and-shoot shooter. One of his biggest strengths is to make tough shots. Because of his size and wingspan, he does not hesitate to shoot over defenders and is very successful at doing so. He has excellent footwork, and this has allowed him to get to his spot whenever and wherever he wanted. He has multiple moves he can utilize, leaving his defenders needing to guess what he's going to do, and this just shows you how much talent he has, being able to score in so many different ways. His fadeaway is very clean, and he can move in either direction and protects the ball well while doing so, and most importantly, he does love his jab step. This shot creating ability will only improve with more reps and gain confidence in the NBA, as it's already at such a high level, but he has the potential to score like some of the greats in the league. His ability to create and convert on tough shots isn't at all limited to just beyond the arc too, as he has an incredibly developed mid-range game as well. His game primarily revolves around settling for jump shots because of how skilled he is in this area, as having the ability to shoot both threes and mid-range jumpers prevents defenders from having the ability to either sag off of him or run him off the three-point line, forcing defenders to have to stay in his grill defending him, giving him the opportunity to use his wide array of moves to try and score. Now, moving on to the defensive side of the ball, the thing that makes Jabari Smith Jr. so unique as an NBA prospect is his ability to play defense so well along the perimeter for his size. He's incredibly mobile for a 6'10 forward, and he moves his feet exceptionally well, allowing his lateral quickness to be top-notch, and with this, allows him to have the ability to switch onto any position on the floor. We've seen him lock up many great guards in the SEC, and this mixed in with his length is a recipe for a nightmare for opposing players. He plays very aggressively along the perimeter and has quick hands, which is why he's averaged over a steal per game at Auburn, and although he is an aggressive defender, he's also very smart and knows exactly when to try and pry the ball loose, as he gets steals and blocks without having to gamble in games, allowing him to only average 2.1 fouls per game in college, and this tells you a little something about his instincts, size, and length. Jabari Smith Jr. is a guy who has shown he can guard all 5 positions in college, and as he puts on more muscle to his frame, this would improve practically every aspect for his game defensively, but most importantly, I could see this ability of guarding 1 through 5 translate to the NBA level, and it's a real possibility that he transforms into one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. And then lastly, it is his size and versatility that tie into everything that I've stated earlier and then some, that give him the potential to develop into a superstar in the NBA. He has the ability to grab the defensive board and start the fast break quickly himself. The areas in which he needs to improve upon, and which I will get into in just a second, second can be greatly improved because of his size. As he gets bigger and stronger, he'll become a better rim protector, a better and more consistent finisher, and he has the tools to also become a strong rebounder as well in the NBA, where something that not many people talk about is the work that he puts in on the glass, as he compiled the third most defensive rebounds in the SEC this past season with 220 of them. This is an insane statistic when you think about it, because of the fact that one, he did have Walker Kessler on his team who manned the paint at Auburn, and two, because of this, he spends the majority of his time on defense along the perimeter. Now moving on to his game, where I wouldn't consider a weakness for Jabari, as I truly think that these are all just things that are behind his other attributes, and at the same time I think he could develop these skills and make them elite in a couple of years, and the first thing is definitely going to be his finishing ability. Smith Jr. isn't the most explosive prospect at the hoop, and as I mentioned earlier, only 25% of his shot attempts came in the paint or at the hoop. I think this is also just the case where he saw that he had this absolutely elite ability to make shots outside the paint, utilize that to its near full ability, and obviously it has worked out nice for him, as he could very well wind up as the first overall pick, then down the line develop this area of his game. His strength could be an issue at the next level. I've talked about how he can and most likely will improve that over time, and at the same time he's shown the flashes of his athleticism and nice drives through the lane that give me all the confidence in the world about his ability to finish. He just needs to get more consistent. What wasn't great was the fact that he shot 52.1% around the basket in the half court on non-post-ups at Auburn, which is very low for someone who's 6'10". Moving on to the second area where Jabari can improve his game is his rim protection. Once again, this isn't necessarily a weakness. This is just an area where it honestly just hasn't been his role at Auburn to be in the paint as much for his size and position, as he's still very much capable of defending around the basket. He averaged a block a game, and when you once again look at the fact that he played alongside Walker Kessler, you become more convinced that it was situational with his role at Auburn, as this definitely took some of his rebounding and shot blocking opportunities away, and is the reason his 7.4 rebounds per game and a block a game numbers don't jump out at you. His Auburn teammate and fellow NBA draft prospect Walker Kessler led the nation in blocks with 155 of them, and with that in mind, again, it's possible that because the Tigers had such an elite backline defender with Kessler, they didn't rely on Smith to guard the basket as much, and instead took advantage of the fact that he was one of the best perimeter defenders in the country. While he wasn't a premier rim protector in college, he still did block 35 shots, which was 11th most in the SEC. Lastly, I did want to touch upon Jabari Smith Jr.'s decision-making and passing ability, as this was an area where he did force a decent amount of bad passes at the beginning of the year, and because of his playstyle, oftentimes you could argue some of his shots weren't the greatest decisions, but then again, even throughout just last year, this was something that as the year went on, he improved upon greatly, and I believe that this will continue at the next level. And on top of his improvements throughout the year, I found a pretty eye-opening stat about him, and it was the fact that he had a usage rate of 27.6% on the year, and just had 1.9 turnovers per game, which actually comes out to being a great number for that high of a usage rate. I'd have to say his ceiling is extremely high, with the fact that he has a serious shot at being among the top of multiple categories in the NBA, like being one of the best stretch bigs in the league, while also having the potential to make some all-defensive teams in his future. His day will come when they call his name to be among one of the 2 all-star teams, and I think he has a great chance at being among the top sharpshooters in this league as well, as his shooting stroke and defense look like it's inevitable that it's going to transfer to an NBA level. And on top of this, as he packs on size, his frame is perfectly suited to allow him to get stronger attacking the basket and protecting the paint, elevating the areas where he needs to improve upon. At worst, and when I say this I mean his floor in the NBA, will be at least a starting caliber 3-and-D player that I think will no matter what find a role on an NBA team for a very long time. I think no matter what happens, his shooting and defensive ability will always be there for him, allowing him to at least still contribute as a 3-and-D star, whereas we've seen just this playoffs alone is still incredibly useful in today's NBA. Although Smith Jr. is a prospect that is quite unique with his skill set, the man that is projected by most betting books to go #1 overall, I'd say he best compares to a mixture of Rashard Lewis and Kevin Garnett in terms of his shooting ability and footwork for his size, or even a more perimeter-oriented Jaren Jackson Jr. But again, he isn't looking to replicate the games of those guys. Like he said himself in an interview with Shams prior to the NBA Combine, he feels like his skill set is so unique to any other prospect, and he feels like he can be one of the greatest players ever. Only time will tell which team decides to select him in the draft and whether or not he lives up to the increasing hype that is being directed towards him.